Welcome back to another Bionicle review here on my channel. As always, I'm doing these in the interim while my computer is busted. If you'd like to support the fundraiser to help me get a new computer sooner, you can do so in the link down in the description. Today we are looking at a particularly exciting set for me. This is Bionicle Rahkshi Guurahk, set number 8590, which released in 2003 for $9 as part of the Mask of Light wave. Unlike the previous two videos where I was picking up characters from waves that I never really touched, this is going to be a set that actually doesn't hold any surprises for me because the Rahkshi were right when I was getting into Bionicle and its story. In fact, it's not the first Rahkshi I have. It's not even going to be the second Rahkshi I have. When I was a kid, it was right here, right when these guys were being introduced, when I started getting LEGO Magazine, and therefore the comics. In fact, the three Rahkshi I have set up here were the three Rahkshi that were the primary threat in the issue that introduced me to all of this. These guys were extremely cool, and the fact that I was never able to pick up the blue one to finish off this particular set of Rahkshi was really one of the sorrowful moments in my childhood. But as you can see now, I've completed the holy grail of the three, and so, without further ado, let's take a look at the canister. Right off the bat, I really just want to emphasize just how interesting a triangular shape is for the canisters. It's rounded around on the corners, but it gives it a good, interesting, and really almost aggressive shape since it's like it's coming out at you. The front itself has the Guurahk Rahkshi front and center. Over on one side there is Makuta's mask, and on the other side the Mask of Light, since this is the Mask of Light wave that's being emphasized here. The font is nice and, sharp and jagged because of how dangerous the Rahkshi were supposed to be as a threat. Not too many hidden details compared to something like the Matoran from the same year, but it's still nice to see. Here in the background you sort of see the outline of the island of Matanui, so that's cool. On the back it's pretty straightforward. It shows that you can stand him in his canister, and you can also close it down like that since the lid's on the bottom. It also shows off the Krata, which is the slug creature that actually controls this thing. Not really too many Easter eggs or anything here on the back, just telling you how to unseal it. On the top you have the sign for Unity, Duty, and Destiny, and on the bottom it's just a very stylized version of a Krata surrounded by the 6 dots, because 6 was pretty significant. They always released these things in waves of 6. Nothing more I can blather on about this canister, though. Let's get this thing built. Seal on this one's actually fighting me a little bit. Turns out the glue that they used 17 years ago is actually really effective at keeping it together. Before we build it, let's take a quick look at the instructions, see if there's anything cool. Well, there's a very stylized graphic for the Mask of Light wave. That's a pretty awesome one to see. The backgrounds themselves are really nice, very cloudy with darkness and light intermingling. A nice shot of Takanuva standing with his vehicle. I can't remember offhand what it's called, Usanui or something, I could be wrong. As well as Jala and his Gukko, and Takua and Puku the crab. And of course Makuta, the villain of both the wave and the series. And a promo for the downright atrocious Bionicle video game. Once I have my computer functioning again, I think I should discuss just how bad this game was, and maybe even do a full playthrough and trim it down for a video. So if you want to see that, you should definitely check out that fundraiser I've got going. On the back, it also shows all 6 Rahkshi and their different stages of karate, which, as you can see, some are younger and, I guess, less experienced, and some of them are older and stronger. So we'll take a look once we have this built and see what stage our karate is in. There's also a folded pamphlet of some sort. I'm guessing this is probably going to be a poster or something along those lines, because back in the day, Bionicle released with this kind of thing if you were getting one of the prioritized sets, like the Rahkshi. Oh, that's what it is. It comes with a tiny little comic. In this case, it looks like it's one of the comics that's teasing the next year of Bionicle following the Rahkshi. That is cool. We're going to have to take a look at that in just a minute. Alright, I gave this Bionicle Metru Nui pamphlet a quick read just to see what it was like, and that's a cool little teaser. That's a nice touch for something, because it actually does appear to be unique art for it that the team put together. It is kind of funny that it goes from English and French together, because it was simpler to just keep them together than publishing 2 different versions for different regions. But the art, as always was the case, is really high quality. It shows off a very decent representation of the following year's heroes, so that's a really cool thing. I really wish they would go the extra mile and include stuff like this in modern sets. You don't get to see something like that anymore. And here we have Guurahk in its entirety. Now, the build you see is actually not the intelligent creature itself. It's actually driven by this slug, the Krata, like I mentioned before, which comfortably sits inside and does all the piloting. It's not easy to tell on the back from this angle, but this is actually the second most advanced form shown on here of the Krata of the 6. What it doesn't show is there is actually a 7th version, which is exclusively purple, the Shadow Krata. The Krata sits comfortably inside the back and shoulder part here with the spines, and you could, in theory, fling it at one of the heroes and infect their mask if it touches, but that particular play feature doesn't really do too much. So here's the completed model. The gear functions turn the arm, as is frequently the case in these types of sets. And one thing I like to do with them, because the instructions just tell you to put the staff on very flat like this, is actually to turn the staff pieces around sideways. Like so. And it gives it a much more dynamic action stance. So here's Guurahk doing a nice action pose with its 2 main Rahkshi allies that it works with the most. And, you know, it honestly angers me how good the character design is, because I am never going to be able to write or publish or create anything in a commercial sense using the Rahkshi. Like, this is just really impeccable design. You look at this and you see it's a menace. You can see right away that it's fairly bestial from the snake-looking head, but you also see just how dangerous and cunning it is with the use of staffs. It also set a new standard for Bionicle. It's the first of many, many sets to come that actually have jointed legs instead of just one-piece legs, which would always be the standard following these guys. It's just so well designed. And yes, some of this could be nostalgia because these were the ones I started out with. But still, these guys are fantastic. And now that I've got my unholy trifecta finally put together, I'm just really excited to have these guys out on display together. especially since one of them is in such good condition. So, that is Rahkshi Guurahk. If you did like the video, please do drop a like. Please leave any comments you have down in the comments section below. I'd love to hear any feedback. Which one you thought was the best? Which one maybe you thought was the worst if you didn't like these guys in particular? I'd definitely love to hear your opinions down below. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe. And to round up the number 3 for how many times I've plugged it, if you'd like to check out that fundraiser, it makes a big difference for me, affording a new computer sooner so I can get back to the bigger stuff. Anyway, guys, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will wish you all the best of luck and safety out in that crazy world right now.